Okay, so I have never done this before, but a couple months ago I told some of my friends that I would start a YouTube channel because I had to move. And I was gonna do vlogs, but I feel like that's a big first step. So I'm just gonna do a what's in my bag video to try and do like a get to know me thing. But basically, I graduated from university in July, like the first week of July, and then moved back to the US. And I haven't been here in like 4 years, and I decided to move to St. Louis, which is where my brother lives. And so I've never lived in St. Louis before, and I have no friends here. It's a work in progress, basically. But I do have an everyday bag that I take because I have a job. Yay! So I just wanted to kind of do a what's in my bag, and she's stuffed to the brim, you know? I like to have everything with me at all times, and a lot of it isn't necessary, but here she is. I got her at a retail consignment store in Gainesville when I was visiting my mom, and I think she was $50, but it's a vintage fry bag that someone just didn't want anymore, I guess. But let's get started. So I guess the first thing that I keep in here is that made a weird noise, is my water bottle. Super basic, got her at Target. I have an Nalgene too, but she's kind of old, she's from high school, so I thought I would get a new one to kind of start my journey. Too philosophical, I know, stupid. And then I keep a lot of like school related stuff in here because I'm still working on articles and things that I kind of want to publish in the future. Because I am eventually, hopefully, crossing my fingers, going to start a PhD in the next year or two. And so I've been working on my applications and my research proposals and trying to get my foot in the door in the academic publishing world. So I've edited my dissertation and submitted that, which is why I have so much stuff in here that I carry around all the time. And the first thing is my headphones. I have the Bose NC700s, and they're really old, and they're like flaking, but my brother told me that you can get replacement pads from some website, so I'm gonna do that, and they have like fun colors and stuff, so that's exciting. And then I just have my wallet. This is like the basic stuff, super cute, leather, little pockets. Got all my coins in here, and when I was getting a new wallet I was like, I have to have one with a pouch because I love coins, and so that's why it's so big. And then I have my laptop, and I keep a lot of stuff in the laptop case because I am like that. And the biggest thing for me right now is in the actual like main pocket, I keep a notebook labeled PhD research. And this is where I keep all my notes on the articles that I'm reading and like things that I need to learn for a PhD. So for the project that I want to do, I need to know GIS and in turn like basic coding formatting. And so I'm just trying to like keep up my skills with that because I have used it quite a few times in the past, but it's just good to kind of keep a refresher. And so I have like notes on that and stuff. And then I'm also working on like a fun writing project, and I have a typewriter, so I'll keep the notes in here from my typewriter that I go through and hand edit, and then once I've done that I'll type them up into a Word doc. And I know it's kind of like a slow process, but I've gotten so much writing done that way just because it's so much fun to write on a typewriter, and I just love it. And then in kind of like the front pocket I just keep a whole bunch of pens and like highlighters and stuff. Not super exciting. So that's that, and that's probably where all of the weight comes from in this bag. She would be a lot lighter if I could just get myself to not carry around my laptop, but that's also my light laptop because I have two. I have one that's like for kind of like hardcore GIS work, and it can actually like process it, and it has the storage capacity. That is purely like an academic laptop, if that makes sense. Like I can really only use the internet and like word processor on it, otherwise it goes ballistic. It's like, what are you doing? What's next? And then I always keep a book because I need a brain break sometimes. So I'm currently reading More Do, and I actually picked this up just because I liked the cover, which I know you're not supposed to do, but when I picked it up, I also dropped it in a canoe, so that was silly. But the first thing it says on the back is God is dead, and I just thought that this was a book that I wanted to read, and I'm pretty sure it's actually a trilogy, but I'm almost done with this one. It looks like I'm halfway through, but the back like 200 pages or so, like this entire section is the glossary, so I'm like 3/4 of the way through it. And it's actually, the glossary is so helpful because this is like kind of a really intense high fantasy, and there's a lot of like made up things that the author doesn't really provide context for because the main character doesn't know. And like at the start, you open it and the first thing that it says is like, feel free to use the glossary, but the best reading experience is if you know the same information that the main character knows and you find out the same things as they find them out. But even after the main character has found out some things, I've been kind of confused, and it's just been really helpful. And I think the way it's set up is really helpful because it's not set up in like a these are the definitions. It'll give like little stories, or like for one of them it's just like a character that has a little blurb about them, and so it's just really helpful. But it's such a good book. I love it, and I'm actually also reading Babel still. If anyone follows me on Goodreads, I've been reading it since 2023, and I just cannot finish it. But after I finish More Do, I'm not allowed to read the next one in that series until I finish Babel, because I have to finish it. I can't. I love the story and I love the characters, but there's just something about it that makes it so difficult for me to read. But I'm gonna finish it. I know I am. Anyway, my next thing is my planner. So I have the Filofax like basic, I think this is the A5. No, this one's too small for that. Anyway, it's the Filofax Personal, the Domino, and I got it from TK Maxx, and it was like £20 instead of 70. And it came with all the inserts, but I wanted inserts that didn't have as much writing on them because for some reason the Filofax ones have like all of these extra blurbs and stuff. So I just got the WH Smith one, and it's so much cleaner and simpler. So like here's my, this is this week, and it's got like my PhD stuff because an application just opened, and then my work schedule, and then like some interviews for other jobs because I like my job, but it's an art museum and I'm an archaeologist. So and then I have like to-do lists, and I used those a lot when I was finishing my dissertation for my master's. And then here's like some notes that I took for my master's when I would like not have a notebook or something, because sometimes I would forget it at home. Yeah, and then like, oh, here's the final bits list for my thesis. That was painful. But yeah, and then the application I'm most excited about right now is my, hopefully I've sent out some feeler emails to some of the staff at the University of Glasgow because I really want to work in combining medieval history and archaeology using GIS. So my proposed project would be in history, in medieval history, but I would be using theories and practices from like the archaeology use of GIS. And I think that's really cool, but I'm kind of scared that they're not gonna think that it's a viable project, or that it's like useful in any way. So I'm developing my research proposal, but I decided it would be a good idea to send an email to my potential supervisor before I'd finished my research proposal, because I had a whole bunch of questions, because I don't know if I should apply as an archaeology PhD or as a history PhD to do something that relates to both. But because it's history focused, I sent an email to the medieval historian that I want to work with, and he seems pretty cool, and I referenced a lot of his research in my undergrad dissertation for my archaeology and history masters. So anyway, that was not on the topic of what's in my bag at all. And I also am not super good at editing, so once this is finished filming, I'm just gonna post it. Anyway, the other thing that I carry around is my Louise Carmen, and what I keep in her kind of changes pretty regularly, but the charms don't, because they're cute. So I have this little like sun and moon with like some stars. Excuse me. And I got this charm I got from the Louise Carmen shop, and I got my name on it, so it's just my name. And it's in London Green, and it's the Heritage Road book, I believe. I got her when I was in Paris by myself for like a little graduation trip, because I wanted to go somewhere, and I'm not a huge fan of traveling with other people, I'm gonna be honest. Anyway, and then I also got some other charms from a little like charm shop where you could go in, and I'd seen it on TikTok, and you can just like go in and pick a whole bunch of charms and like make necklaces and bracelets while you're there, but I just wanted like individual charms so that I could put them on here. So I got this little gem one, and then a little cross and a sun, because one of my like weird history fascinations is religious history, and I just think it's so interesting. And what I'm currently working on in here is a book project similar to the Decameron. I don't know if anyone has read that, and this is just another thing that I've typed up, some typewriter nonsense. But I have my project diary, so this is like, I keep track of word counts and things and like how much I've done, and then I have a little to-do list notebook where I take just like miscellaneous notes and things on my projects. And then I have the project notebook, and I've drawn on the cover a little bit on this one, but I want to do more drawings. But it's a book based in 1360s roughly, about a mercenary knight who gets hired by the papacy in Italy to work for them, and through all of this, there's like a whole bunch of little like miniature short stories about other characters that appear during his kind of mission, and I just think it's a really cool concept that I hope that I can do justice. And then in the back, because a lot of the times when I'm working on in here, I kind of like think of things that I want to tell people, but I'm a sucker for mail, so I have a postcard collection that I keep in the back with stamps. And I have to have the international stamps, which are quite expensive because most of my friends that I send mail to are in the UK. And so I've sent a fair few postcards, but that's just something that I really enjoy doing. And I will continue to do. And I just love this notebook, and I know it was expensive and I probably shouldn't have spent that much money on a notebook, but I really do use it pretty much every day because I have just like random thoughts and things, and I can take it to work because my work is super chill, and I'm not allowed to write in it in pen, which is annoying because I always write in pen while I'm at work because I work in an art gallery, and so I have a pencil that I keep with it as well. And it's just good for like little ideas and things that I want to add to my stories, or things I need to research, because as much as I do know about the 14th century in Europe, I know surprisingly little as well, and it's so easy to get timelines mixed up and like things happen and then I think they've happened at one point but they've actually happened like 20 years after that. So it's just to keep my head straight, I write it down and make sure that I double check and find references for what I've written. And then there's only a few things left in here. So the last thing is my pen bag. So sorry about that, I just heard a noise and I think it might have been the mailman. But so I keep a little bag, and it's a Victoria's Secret bag that I got in high school. But I keep a fountain pen in here, multiple fountain pens actually, but I have my green ink. It's like a kind of sagey olivey green, and it's super pretty, and that is for my Ferris wheel press pen, and I got this from Papillon Press in St. Louis, and I love the way the pen writes. I don't like the way the pen feels. I think it feels kind of cheap. And that's a horrible thing for me to say because the pen itself was not actually that cheap. I just wish it had a sturdier case. That's all. And I think that's because I've been using the Kaweco Swing. And as you can see, this case is well loved, but the pen itself is well loved too. So I have the Kaweco Swing in kind of this olivey green, and that's why my ink is olivey green, because I like things to match. And you know, I've used this pen so much that the little, like, oh, I don't know if you can see this, but focus please. Oh my gosh, I feel like a YouTuber in 2014 who can't get their thing to focus. Anyway, it's tarnishing. Man, I want you guys to see it because it looks so gross because my hands are so sweaty. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I don't know how to get this to focus. I'm also just filming this on my phone, so okay, that's not working. I'll figure that out. I've also thought about maybe getting a better camera, but I'm gonna keep using my phone because I have no money. So that's that, and both this pen and the Ferris wheel press pen both use cartridges, so those look like this. And I have a whole bunch because this is my first ever fountain pen, and it's broken, but I keep it because I lend it to people because it's just the cap that's broken. It's not the actual functioning of the pen, and I don't carry normal pens, so whenever people ask to borrow a pen, this is what I hand them, and then they look at me like I'm crazy, and then they give it back because it's a fountain pen, and you shouldn't. Why would you steal someone's fountain pen? That's just not something that you would do. So it's a pretty good method for getting things back. I don't know what this is. This is my graduation number, and I don't know what to do with it, but I'm not getting rid of it. And then this is a postcard that I have yet to address because she has not responded to me with her address. But that's okay. And then I have a sticker from the Arch that I will put on something at some point. And then I have a highlighter and my pride and joy. I don't know why I said it like that. But she's so cute. And so this is the Mont Blanc Heritage Baby, and she is a baby. Look at how tiny she is. and she's so expensive. I got her as a birthday present from my mom when I turned 22, and I love her to death. She's gorgeous, she writes beautifully, she has green ink in her currently. There's a theme here if you couldn't tell. And I love the like end cap because it's the classic Mont Blanc symbol. But she's so delicate, and so I'm like, oh, she feels nice and expensive. And things are made to be used, and a lot of the times especially fountain pens, if you don't use them, they break or get destroyed, or etc, etc. The ink can clog them, and then you have to spend hours doing the whole like cleaning and flushing process. So I do use them on a rotation. I haven't put that one back in its box. And I try my best, because I do journal quite regularly, but I don't keep my journal in my bag because it's precious to me and I don't want to risk losing it. So I'll take it with me if I have a bigger bag, like a backpack or something, but most of the time it stays in my room. And the last things that I keep in here are on the more practical side, just for personal well-being. So I keep sunscreen. This I got in Paris for like €6, and here it costs like $30, which makes my eye twitch. But it's just like the liquid one, and I put it in my moisturizer that I wear on my face. So I really only use this on my face. But it doesn't feel like you're wearing sunscreen, and it doesn't smell like sunscreen. So 10 out of 10 would recommend. Amazing product. And then the other thing that I got in Paris is a Diptyque solid perfume. And this one is the scent 34, which is the address that the original like Diptyque shop was at. And it's just a little solid perfume. Oh, it smells so good. Oh my god. And I don't know why, but like I just love small things that are probably more expensive than realistically they should be. But this one is so nice because once you get the case, you can get refills, and they don't have to be this scent because all of their refills fit in every single case. And they have other solid perfumes that come with like their own custom cases, and I was really tempted to get like refills in this scent and then a different case because I thought they were so pretty. But I went with the classic one because I was like, you know, I'm here, I'm at the store, and this is the scent that I want, so I might as well get the case that belongs to that scent as well. And I think it's my favorite souvenir that I've gotten, and it's one that I will probably continue to use and keep for the rest of my life, because it's just such a nice scent. I believe that one is like a patchouli bergamot rose scent, and it's just very subtle and soft, and I love it. And along the same lines, the other two things that I always keep in here are lip products, because I have notoriously dry lips. So this is the Clinique Black Honey that I got like 2 years ago, and I'm still rocking, and she's kind of gross now because I've had her for so long, but so good. And then I have the Pink Honey as well, but it's getting into fall, so I like to change from fall to winter. I wear Black Honey, and then like kind of spring summer I wear Pink Honey, just because I think it's kind of nice to change your makeup depending on the season, which might be a me thing. And then the other thing I have is the Summer Fridays iced coffee lip butter balm. And I got this because it was recommended to me by a friend, and I do really like it, but if you don't put enough on, then your lips just get tacky. And if you put too much on, then it feels like you're like drowning your lips. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of slugging, but it kind of feels like that. So I just don't know if I'm not used to it yet, but I do really like it when it does work. But I think I'm used to like the Vaseline tubs, the like little Vaseline tins, because that's what I had in Scotland and then I ran out. So yeah, that was everything that I keep in my bag, and some things do change. Like, I don't usually, when I go to work, I don't take my laptop, but I don't work every day, and sometimes I do take my laptop because I'll have like a shift that starts at like 5, and so I'll go a couple of hours early and get some work done in the library on campus or something, and then I have everything with me. So, but yeah, that was everything I keep in my bag, and I hope you guys enjoyed.